Welcome back to JK McLean. Today I'm working on a Pioneer 550 chainsaw. I think it's circa 1964 to 68 maybe. Fairly decent shape, cosmetically clean. I just threw this little bar on there for shits and giggles. Just to see how it looked. It's a little short for the saw though. Initially the filter in here was gone. And a little bit of white death inside the tank. So, a little white vinegar in there. Let me see if I can get that in focus. Yeah, a little bit of white vinegar. You can see it's already working on getting all the old white death and garbage and whatever the hell is in the tank. Okay, it smells like old gas, even though there's nothing in the tank. Now, to get the carb out is going to be a project. I'll have to look at the IPL. But as far as I can tell, I got to take this one here, one on the other side, and the same down here, and take the handle off in order to access the carb. I'm not quite sure how it sits in there. I guess the IPL will shed a little light on that. I'm not sure if it's mounted to the engine. Is there a boot? I'm not sure. And also, there's instead of a choke, there's a primer. I might have to work on that. It doesn't seem to be working. There should be a spring that pushes it up and a little handle on the top. It looks like this one here. There you go. Let me focus that in. Yeah. There we go. They should go up and down. It should be spring loaded. Not quite sure what's going on. And I'll let the vinegar do its work. Yeah, I already cleaned out cleaned out the muffler and the screen in there. Let that work. I don't know if I said, she fires on prime, so we're good. We got compression, we got spark. Just a matter of cleaning up the fuel system, rebuild the carb, and see if we can get this gal back to her old glory. Vinegar's still doing its job, pushing all the dirt out. Still working on the 550. Here's what we've got so far. You take off the little top cover there, the handle, 2 screws. It just comes off. You have to take off the hose for the primer. It goes to the side. Then we got the handle itself. There are 2 bolts that go 1, 2, and then 2 nuts, top, bottom, and the handle simply lifts off. The linkage engages this little post here. So that's nothing more to do. The only thing left to do now is to take off the 2 nuts on the bottom, and hopefully the carb should come right off. Not as bad as I anticipated. May have to do a little work on the inside of the tank though. I think I may see a tiny perforation right at the top. To do a little seal on that. But the tank came out pretty clean. I'll wait till it dries. I'll throw some nuts and bolts in there, shake it around, get whatever loose shale or whatever the hell's left in there. And in the meantime, I'll work on the carb. Best laid plans of mice and men. Got this 550. I got it pretty much back together. The handle on and fuel lines in, the odds and ends repaired, carburetor rebuild. Then I'm just about to put the last of it on, this little top handle here. And sitting in roughly this position, I get it on there. Alright, well, you got the on and off switch, but what exactly does it ground to? Don't see a grounding wire or anything. So I'm looking around and check the IPL as well. In there, supposed to be a little bar and a wire that runs down to ground the saw out. Yeah, we worked on it last time. Never put one back. As you can see right here, there's a improvised little fitting on the end. You got the ground for the coil, but no grounding wire itself. Which lends itself to the idea, why would you get a machine whose job it is to to spin blades of death at over 5,000 RPM and no way to stop it. Even for redneck engineering, that's a little far to go. And it's not like you can have a choke. This thing doesn't have a choke. Once it has a primer. You know, so it primes down the throat of the carb, but you can't put your hand on it because it's covered. And there's no choke to flip, so you can't choke it off. So once you get it going, it's going and you can't stop it. So I'm going to whip up a grounding strap, run it back where it's supposed to go. It's supposed to run up here through the handle, and there should be some sort of, you know, rod, I guess. You know, I'll have to look at the IPL. I'll have to improvise. You know, but this little thing here, you know, it's forward, it's run, back, it's off, and this little part here has to touch here, or some little piece of metal or whatever, you know, whatever's supposed to be on there. So I got to improvise, make up a ground strap. You know, it's like old clunker cars. They may not run, but all my cars, even though they may not run, they all had good brakes. Yep. Let me whip up a grounding wire and see which way I got to route it. Then we can button this all back up together again. Well, here we are. Get it all back together after fixing 10 things to fix one. Had a makeshift keel wire. I have to wire up properly. The primer doesn't work, so I have to do that manually. Filled up the tank. It's not leaking fuel, so I think we're ahead of the game. Fuel lines. So I'm just going to have to prime this manually and see if she draws fuel. I'm going to have to drop it off the bench because it pulls upward. Let's see what we get. Okay, let's see if all the hard work is worth it. Puff over. Well, we got one puff over. Yeah, let me work on it. Here's one for the books. Something I've never seen before. We have spark at low RPM, but as soon as the spark comes up, as soon as the RPMs go up, we lose the spark. Yeah. Let me get it here. Yeah, let me spin it around so you can see. There we go, it's a better angle. Low RPM. Let me get so you can see. And bring the RPMs up. Spark becomes intermittent. My guess is that we'll start off with the simplest one, that the points aren't gapped properly, which is a possibility. Condenser, and then finally the coil. But I'm getting spark at low RPM, so I think the coil's okay. So the points are condenser. Guess who's got to tear this thing back down again? The fun never ends. I found a workaround for the kill switch wire. Using from my local Lowe's 3/16 aluminum tube. Cut a little piece of it off, ran the wire into the center of it, crimped it down, and I had to squeeze this just a little bit, just to get it to fit in that channel. But if you can see right there, I ran the switch over the top, and I'm getting resistance, so it seems to be making contact. Hopefully it, right there, it's where it's making contact. Now hopefully it clears once it's in the off position. Actually, in the on position. One way to find out. Click it up, see if I get spark. Well, as it turns out, the tubing is just a little too thick. It was rubbing. You see the rub marks here, one there, and one there. So it was grounding out even in the run position. So I took a 5/32 roll pin, and local hardware, cut it to size, ran the wire through the center, pressed it down into place, and hopefully that should do it. Because it was just a little too high over here. Well, now we'll give it a shot. Roll pin much better. So if you don't have a grounding strap on that, a 5/32 roll pin, cut a little shorter, stick the grounding wire down the center, crimp it down a little bit, and it's the perfect size. There we go. And just for giggles. Do it. All I got left to do is throw on the bucking spike, and I have to fix this primer. Let's see if I can get one off a dead unit. There he is. Pioneer 550. Yeah. Give me a hard way to go. I think she cleaned up quite nicely. Runs well. I'm going to try to put this thing in the wood. Thanks for watching.